You like throwing it to yourself, or are you trying to swallow it? And now she's laying peacefully. You good dog? You are. Oh, you want belly rubs? Okay, belly rubs. Oh, there goes the foot. Okay, hippo. Anyways, good morning, y'all. Today I have a follow-up appointment with my GI doctor, and we're going to discuss a broad range of topics, but one of which is going to be SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And this was mentioned as a possibility, something we should test me for and look into with my last hospital admission. It could possibly be a reason for some of my GI issues, especially the abdominal distension, and apparently it's often seen with mast cell disease. And the testing, I think it's just like a breath test, it's nothing invasive. So we're gonna discuss that, how my other GI symptoms and issues are doing, gastroparesis, tube feeds, stuff like that. Made it to the doctor, and while I was pulling into the parking lot, this really bizarre feeling came over me. And it just gave me such a happy like revelation, and I'm gonna do my best to explain it to y'all. So the last time I came to see my GI in her office was a little over a month ago, and I was in horrible shape, so much pain, symptoms definitely not managed, in a dangerous position with my health, and I was hoping I could see her in the office and avoid being admitted to the hospital. But after she evaluated me, she said I definitely have to be admitted, and she direct admitted me that day, and that started my 2-week hospitalization, the last one I just had. But now, as I sit here in the same parking spot, I drove myself here, I have my symptoms managed, and I'm doing better. So just from a little over a month ago to now, the difference is crazy. And I know there will be flare-ups and ups and downs, but right now in this moment, I'm thinking back to when I was here last time, and I'm just thankful for the improvement. And those are the things I focus on, you know, because I know maybe there will be a next time with the hospital, or maybe there will be another flare-up. We don't know for sure. And although things may be uncertain, you can focus on the victories that are like right in front of you. And that's what I hold on to. So it's just very like uplifting for me personally to dwell on that. So anyways, off to the doctor we go. Harlow, under. He's so good at that. Good girl. Alrighty, that was a great appointment. Informative, productive. We got a plan. I will update y'all when I get back home. Also though, when my GI saw me, she's like, wow, you're looking so much better than the last time you were here. I mean, she saw me while I was inpatient. She knows I've improved, but it's just such a big difference, such a blessing. And now I'm gonna go home while listening to the Greatest Showman soundtrack and singing horribly off key. So we talked about a few things. The first topic we covered was SIBO. We are going to go ahead and test me for it because I have some symptoms that could definitely correlate with SIBO, but my other conditions could cause those symptoms too. So hopefully we're just ruling it out so we know we don't have to worry about it, but if I do have it, we can treat it. And it's a breath test that I do at home. I just read the instructions, provide some breath samples, send it off in the mail, but we need to make sure insurance is going to cover it. So that's the first step. Then we talked about my weight, which for me, it's not about a specific number. It's just where do I personally feel the best and the healthiest? Because in the past, I've struggled with being underweight and not being able to maintain weight, but now I'm in a really good place. So thankful for that. But what we are most excited about is my oral intake and the drastic improvements I've had with being able to eat and drink now. We initially attributed that success to medical marijuana alone, but we now really believe it's the medical marijuana and the Xolair, because I started both of them roughly around the same time. And as we've been treating my mast cell better and getting more control of it, I'm noticing other areas of my health improving that the mast cells obviously had an impact on, and one of those areas is my GI system. So mast cell disease can present itself in GI symptoms, which I do experience. For example, whenever my mast cell is flaring, that's typically when I tend to get the very severe abdominal distension. But anyways, mast cell disease, when it's not controlled well, can also contribute and make gastroparesis worse. So I do have GP, it's been confirmed with gastric emptying studies, but I think it was exacerbated because my mast cell disease was so out of control. And now that we're getting a better handle on it, more areas of my health are improving. And it can be tricky to determine, okay, what was mast cell, what was GP. But regardless, I'm moving in the right direction. So now most days I can get by with eating and not having to run my tube feeds, which is a huge blessing, huge difference. And I'm really, really grateful. Kind of the key to it for me was the medical marijuana, game changer for my nausea and vomiting, but also stabilizing my mast cell disease to improve my GI symptoms that it was making worse. Now things are better, but they're not perfect. So on a day-to-day basis, I still deal with heartburn and bloating. I fill up quicker than the average person, so I can't eat very much in one sitting, but I eat a little bit many times throughout the day as I can manage it. My two main problems GI-wise right now would be abdominal pain and the distension, which depending on how severe it is, it can be extremely painful, but that really correlates more to my mast cell, because when my mast cell symptoms are acting up, that's when the distension will occur. And I still get nauseous fairly often, although it's not as bad as before, and I'm not vomiting or dry heaving as much as I was, which is amazing. Occasionally I will have trouble though with vomiting and keeping food down and not being able to eat. So on bad days, I still do need to run my tube feeds because I don't want to lose the progress I've made. And like I said, things aren't perfect, but it's about progress, not perfection. So on bad days, or if I'm in a flare up doing very poorly or I'm in the hospital, my feeds do come back into play just so I can maintain proper nutrition, which is so important. And then I do use my feeding tube every day for medication. When I take medication orally, it just doesn't work out very well for me. My feeding tube doesn't go to my stomach, it goes to my jejunum, which is part of the small intestine. So most of my medications will be IV through my port, or it goes to my jejunum. And I do have some pills I have to take orally just because of how they work. And on the days where I'm vomiting, I'll vomit and the pills will be there whole. Or the medication won't work as it's supposed to. For example, I have medicine I take to keep my blood pressure up. If I take it orally, I'll have low blood pressures all day, feeling dizzy and bleh, and then suddenly, hours later, it'll hit me and I'll have suddenly high blood pressure. But if I put it through my J-tube, the medicine works like it's supposed to, and I have nice even blood pressures all day. So what came of this appointment? Testing for SIBO, happy with my weight, happy with my oral intake. We're gonna focus on trying to improve the distension and abdominal pain as best we can, but we really think those results will come from continuing to improve on my mast cell treatment. And we're keeping my feeding tube because right now there's too many good uses for it, not enough reasons to remove it. Plus, it doesn't bother me. It's small and discreet and I don't notice it other than the fact it helps me with feeds when I need it and medications. I really feel like I'm heading in the right direction, and yes, life is full of ups and downs. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe one day I'll have to go back to strict tube feeds, or maybe one day I won't need my feeding tube at all. I don't know. But what I do know is right now in this moment, I have noticeable improvements and I have victories to celebrate. And that's what I'm gonna focus on. Also, if you are struggling and facing challenge after challenge right now, you're in a dark place, please know that you're not alone. I've been there, others have been there, and don't lose hope. You know, if anything with my GI journey has taught me is to not give up hope. Things can always improve, because from where I was, I never thought that I would be at this point. So don't lose hope, stay strong. And with that, I'll say goodbye, and thanks for joining us on our adventure.